Live from downtown Macon, this is WGXA News live on YouTube.
Good Friday evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Greg Lloyd. My co-anchor Amanda Peralta is off tonight. Thanks for watching WGXA News at 5:30. Well, the scorching heat has been the main weather story for Georgia, but yesterday's storms caused serious damage in parts of the state, like this gym in Calhoun. Its walls collapsed from storm winds. Meteorologists in the area say wind speeds got up to between 50 to 60 miles per hour. The fire chief said people were inside that gym when it collapsed, but thankfully no one was hurt. The chief adds the collapse is under investigation. So meteorologist Ryan Mirando is going to join us live now from Warner Robins. And Ryan, will we have to worry about storms again on top of the heat? And in the background, I see you may have other worries than weather too.
Greg, yeah, I've got a few worries right now. One being some storms for the rest of tonight, but also I'm out here with Jurassic Jungle. We've got Erica here, and she wants to show us a special move really fast before I show you a little bit about the weather. So go ahead and show off that spin that we've got going on. Oh my God, this is just one of the things that'll be happening in their shows for this weekend. Oh my God, that is just so awesome. But we are watching for something fun to do with this weekend with that. We are also watching for some storms to be rolling through tonight. There's a complex of storms that's moving through the Tennessee Valley that does have some history of producing some heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and potentially even some damaging winds. So this Friday night is definitely a good one to stay weather aware. At 7 o'clock, temperatures will still be into the 80s, but by around 8:30, I think we will start to get some storms to be popping up. The main threat, if we do see any storms turn strong, will be for damaging winds that could down more trees or power lines, a lot like North Georgia saw last night. So stay weather aware through the rest of this Friday night. I'll talk more about the storms that we can see for the weekend, plus what else Jurassic Jungle has got here planned in backstage coming up in your full forecast. Greg, back to you.
Cannot wait, Ryan. Now's a great time to download that WGXA weather app to keep track of changing weather conditions. Scan the QR code right now to download to your smart device. Ryan is back very soon with your 10-day forecast and more. Turning our attention to local crime, the GBI has been called to Bibb County after a man was shot by deputies after a chase through Macon. According to the sheriff's office, a deputy tried to pull over a car on Log Cabin Drive just before 11:30 last night. The driver, Anthony Foster, refused to speed and led deputies on a chase to Munford Road near Case Street. That's where deputies say Foster backed into one deputy's car and accelerated towards another, so a deputy opened fire. Foster was shot and taken to the hospital. He's listed in stable condition. Now, the 50-year-old is wanted on several charges, including DUI and reckless driving. The Bibb County Sheriff's Internal Affairs Office is also investigating. And another chase in Bibb County leads to multiple injuries. Georgia State Patrol is investigating after deputies say they were in pursuit with a man on a stolen motorcycle on Rice Mill Road just after 5 yesterday. They say a patrol car came to a stop in the northbound lane after seeing the motorcycle heading south in that same lane. The driver collided with the patrol car head on. Deputies say he was not wearing a helmet and suffered serious injuries. The cyclist and deputy were both taken to a local hospital for treatment. Continuing coverage tonight, and earlier this week in an interactive poll, we asked you at home whether victims' families should control what information becomes public. At last check, 66% of you had said yes, while 34% said no. It's a statistic that made us go looking to experts to find out what is common practice in Middle Georgia and which laws override the request of grieving families. Now, 2 months ago, Takesha Mallory says she asked Bibb County Coroner Leon Jones not to release the name of her 16-year-old son who had been fatally shot, a request that wasn't honored. It prompted questions of whether coroners have the right to release sensitive information of minors without a parental consent. We asked Middle Georgia coroners what their practices are in disclosing a minor's name.
Talk to the family before we even do anything. When they die, we talk to them, give us a little history on them, and we do most of what they tell us to do. They don't want it done.
I can't speak for Bibb County as to what happened in that situation, but certainly in Baldwin County, we do not release the names of minors who are deceased. What we have in my terms, we have not had a situation where we would have released the name of a minor. If a name needed to be released to, like you said, to find out for whatever reason, then that would be something that we will do in consultation with each other. But the sheriff here feels the same way I do, I would think, because this has never happened to us in the past.
Now, since the mother's concerns were originally with the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, we asked them if they honor a family's request to keep names private. And they said, quote, "We do release victims' names after a family has been notified. But to be clear, under the National Freedom Information Coalition, even if a coroner decides to keep their identity of a minor disclosed, anyone can file an open records request that guarantees the public access to information, including death certificates." A man who dedicated his life to service to keeping Macon-Bibb safe was honored today at Amerson River Park. Macon Mayor Lester Miller, the Sheriff's Office, and other officials were at the park for a special dedication to Sergeant William Gay. The Buff Pavilion near the Sheridan Overlook now holds the name of the late deputy. His wife was at that event this morning and remembers her late husband's dedication to the community.
He was great. He was always engaging with people, very welcoming. He loved being outdoors, so he loved being out here walking around, making sure everybody was safe on the water, walking the trails.
He died in 2021 with complications of COVID-19 that he got while on duty. Well, the Georgia National Guard welcomed a new era this morning for the Armory in Milledgeville following extensive renovations there. Our Brianna Cook attended the ribbon cutting ceremony and had the chance to take a tour. She's live tonight in the studio. Hey, Brianna.
Hey, Greg, the soldiers told me that they are happy to begin working in this newly renovated facility. The soldiers and officials at the Milledgeville National Guard Armory were in full celebration mode with the reveal of their newly renovated facility. Sergeant First Class Andrew Lewis says the renovations took some time, but now are open for the public.
Opening our armory to the public and as well as our AGR staff here that works full-time. Our armory's been going underneath renovation for the past 2 years, and it's finally been completed now. We're 100% good to go, and just really happy to be here and open up this facility to everyone again.
The renovations is part of a multi-year effort to provide upgrade facilities to Georgia National Guard personnel who train in nearly 70 hometown armories across the state. Nicholas Routh, training NCO, says the renovations show their soldiers they care.
Instead of just coming into places that are dilapidated or broken down, they really don't have that desire to be better. They're like, oh, well, if this place that we're working is bad, why should I be better? No, this is a great place. The place has been renovated. It's a new environment. So we're willing to put that money into our buildings. That shows the soldiers that we're willing to put the same effort into you.
The $3.2 million Milledgeville Armory renovation is the result of Governor Kemp and the Georgia General Assembly providing the Georgia National Guard with bond funds that are matched dollar for dollar by the U.S. Department of Defense. Rouse says now he can train the soldiers better with their new learning environment.
I can actually give soldiers a class, say I need to give them a class on how to disassemble one of our weapon systems. I can actually give them a dedicated space to work on. They're able to focus on just that task. They're not being distracted by other things going on in the building. They're not being pulled away to do another task. So we are able to better utilize the environment to make the training more effective.
Lear Jelks, National Guard recruiter, says the renovations show they are able to get back to their soldiers since they are giving back to their communities.
We are members of the community. You could have someone who serves in the National Guard, and they could be a teacher. They could be a nurse. You just never know. But some of our people serve because they enjoy giving back to the community. If we're investing in spaces where we're conducting training, then we're without a doubt going to invest in you as well.
Spaces in the facility are open to the public for events, and you can find out more on our website at WGXA.tv. Reporting live in studio, Brianna Cook, WGXA News.
All right, thank you so much, Brianna. Well, school property taxes are rolling back for people in Macon-Bibb, but it comes at a price for the school district. The school board had been presented with 3 options by the district CFO. The board could keep the current rate, do a partial rollback, or a full rollback. The board decided to go with a third option, dropping the millage rate from 16.7 to 14.6 starting in 2024. That means the school system's tax revenue drops by nearly $700,000.
It's simply wrong to ask the public to provide additional tax money until you've demonstrated you've done everything you can to save money.
Also at last night's meeting, the board voted to spend $3.6 million for a teaching staffing service as the district deals with a shortage. At Atrium, the hospital system is giving away more than 40,000 pounds of food to the community. Families were able to pick up full boxes of fresh fruits, veggies, and pantry goods. Hospital officials say access to healthy food is essential to improving the community's well-being.
Important because food insecurity is real in a community, and especially now with inflation that's high, a lot of people are giving up on paying for nutritious food and buying what they can afford.
Atrium also shared information on the state's eligibility checks for Medicaid and Peach Care for kids. A quarterback from Southwest High School is trying to keep his grandmother's legacy alive through giving. Carlos Stevens says that's why that football standout is this week's game changer.
High School's Chase Dupree performance for his community goes far beyond football and basketball. Chase has been involved in sports since he was just 5 years old, according to his head football coach, Joseph Dupree. Dupree says while Chase shows up big time in sports, his attitude is everything.
He's a better young man than he is an athlete. You know, he has a heart of gold.
And Chase's heart of gold is on display more often than not for everyone, according to his coach. Chase tutors kids, he visits nursing facilities giving back to the elderly, and visits local animal facilities as well, giving back to animals. According to Dupree, Chase's grandmother passed away 5 years ago, and Chase says while that was a very tough loss, her memory lives on in him, and that's why he continues to strive for greatness.
I vision my grandma in my head. She telling me to keep pushing.
And Chase says despite what he may have seen his grandmother face, she defined what it means to keep pushing.
She used to come to all my games, even though she couldn't walk. She used to find a way to get there.
Coach Dupree says there's something all children can learn from all athletes like Chase.
Just hard work, dedication. Nothing has been given to him.
While Chase believes he'll end up playing for one of the big leagues one day, he has a backup plan. He plans to major in physical therapy. But why? You'd probably guess it's because Chase wants to continue changing the world for the better.
I can still see people on the field and help them at the same time.
Chase has a message for other athletes and his community.
I had some hard things to go through, but I kept pushing, and I kept giving back. Even though, I was going through hard things, I know people going through hard things too, so I still help them too.
And that's your game changer of the week. Congrats, Chase. Central Georgia, keep those nominations coming. Reporting in Macon, I'm Carlos Stevens, WGXA Sports.
It's an active night in the jungle, and it's also going to be a bit of an active night weather-wise, as we do have a complex of storms that is going to be moving through. So showing on satellite and radar, the storms right now are moving through the Tennessee Valley, starting to approach into North Georgia. We do have a severe thunderstorm that's near the Atlanta metro. Notice here on radar, there's just a few storms that are beginning to pop up over North Georgia. These will be sliding to the south over the next few hours. I think we'll have some scattering of some thunderstorms around 8:30 tonight that could come with some heavy downpours, frequent lightning, or even some gusty winds that could produce some damaging winds as well that could knock down trees or some power lines. The main bulk of the activity looks to be moving through the overnight hours around 1 o'clock. Areas to the south of Macon are getting absolutely hammered with some heavy rainfall, maybe even hearing a few rumbles of thunder that could wake you up. These also could come with damaging winds that could knock down some trees. So tonight, for your Friday evening plans, it is going to be a good idea to stay weather aware. The weekend, though, is finally looking cooler than it's been this week as we get towards Saturday, getting up to a high of around 91 degrees. Tomorrow will be more of an active day than Sunday, with some gusty thunderstorms popping up really anytime throughout the day, but it's much cooler on Sunday. We do have a few isolated storms popping up. The main activity looks to be to the south of Macon, but anyone could see an isolated storm on Sunday as well. The good news is that it's going to be much cooler for the weekend. As today is that last day with temperatures feeling like they're well into the triple digits. Currently feels like 107 in Montezuma, 112 in Edenton, and 101 in Macon. So it is definitely still a very hot day. So a great place to be is going to be inside for your weekend plans. And tonight, it will be a seasonable night like it's been for the past few, down to 75 degrees in Macon, 73 in Warner Robins, 74 in Dublin, and 72 degrees the overnight low in Butler. So in your 10-day forecast, it will be unsettled at times this weekend. Not everyone sees the rain. It's not going to be a washout. 91 degrees for the high tomorrow. Sunday, just a few isolated storms bubbling up south of Macon, 91 degrees. Monday, it's looking really nice. Seasonable on Sunday, 94. Tuesday, mostly sunny. The humidity stays in check. Wednesday, though, we begin to heat back up to 97 degrees. Thursday, the humidity begins to ramp up 97. And Friday, back into the very hot weather with a high of 98 degrees. So lastly, here's your Tyson's Body Shop. Fish and game forecast peaking near excellent at 5:40 a.m. But I did want to bring you out live here back for Jurassic Jungle, where they're going to have the premiering of their show, The Great Dino Rescue, this weekend. We got a few dinosaurs that are fighting off right here. Their show is a 55-minute thriller action adventure, so that's something good for the whole entire family. What's really great about the show is that these aren't just animatronics. These are real-life dinosaurs that interact with the audience, so definitely a good idea to bring the whole family around this weekend, especially with it being so active with some storms around. They have shows tomorrow at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m., and Sunday as well on 2 p.m., and that also works for the following weekend. If you want to get tickets, they say the best thing to do is get them online in advance at dinogeorgia.com. You can get them for the whole family, and this also benefits some military benefits as well. They're working with the Dublin VA, so it's definitely a really great idea to come out here. They even have 12 dinosaurs, so definitely come and check them out. Something for the whole family to do, though. Reporting in Warner Robins, I'm Ryan Miranda.
Looks like a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Ryan. Well, a study shows that hotter temperatures will cost about $1 billion in healthcare costs every summer. According to researchers with Virginia Commonwealth University and the Center for American Progress, hotter weather will cause about an extra 235,000 emergency room visits each year and about 56,000 hospital admissions. The National Weather Service says heat is the #1 killer among weather-related fatalities. One nonprofit chose Georgia to test a new pilot program for transforming unused crop acreage into pine forest. In tonight's On the Farm, we examine why the American Forest Foundation wants to get loblolly pine trees planted in Georgia and the ideal candidates for the program. The American Forest Foundation announced it's piloting a new pine tree planting program in Georgia.
Among many things, AFF is working to develop new ways to connect our landowners to the carbon market. And one of those ways we are doing that is with our new program, Field to Forest. And so with this program, we are working with Georgia landowners, specifically private landowners, and assisting them with afforestation. So essentially, we are working to assist these landowners in transitioning marginal row crop and pasture land to loblolly pine forest.
Tykedra Young with the AFF says it's a great option for private landowners who plan to keep their properties for the long term. It's a 30-year commitment, and participants must meet enrollment requirements.
When I think about this program, I specifically think about landowners who are looking to retire or just looking to transition out of farming. You get paid for it, so that's always a bonus. $30 per acre, annual payment. Just in general, our eligibility criteria is having a minimum acreage of 40, so 40 minimum acres. Land has not been forested in 10 years, and it needs to be privately owned land in the state of Georgia.
Young says even landowners without a full 40 acres may still qualify if the AFF is able to help them bundle or cluster acres.
When you have a minimum acreage for a program, it does exclude a particular community, usually underserved or minority landowners, and we do want to make sure that we are not excluding a particular group by having a minimum acreage. So this is a way to make sure our program is still inclusive in some way.
Though enrollment in the program does come with some strict guidelines, it does not prohibit landowners from other uses such as hunting.
It doesn't restrict the use of a hunting lease by being enrolled in this program. So it is a program that still allows you to have other uses for your land. It doesn't restrict you to just be, doing just this.
The application window for the program has opened now and ends September 30th. If you'd like to find out more info, we have it posted on WGXA.tv.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Thigpen, and I'm here again today at the Bibb County Animal Services here in Macon-Bibb. I'm joined again today with Tracy, and guess who we have to show you today?
We've got Geo.
Geo.
Geo's a lab mix. He's about 11 months old, heartworm negative, and he's just a really good boy. He's so sweet.
Now, couldn't you just see Geo out there running in that backyard with your kids as you throw the Frisbee or throw the football? He would be the one to be out there with you. How old is Geo now?
Geo's about 11 months old.
11 months old, and you heard lab mix. Very, very sweet personality. So, Tracy, if someone would like to adopt Geo and give him a good home, how would they go about doing that?
So they'll just reach out to us at 478-621-6774 and ask to speak to Elvin, who's our adoption coordinator, and he'll help you through the whole process. We'll get you in here, and hopefully you'll fall in love with Geo.
how could you not but fall in love with Gio? Look how sweet he is. So let's go ahead and get on the phone today. Let's talk to Elvin. Let's find Gio a really, really good home. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today, Tracy.
Thank you.
Well, Popeyes is in the business of TikTok trends. The fast food chain has come up with its own version of the viral girl dinner, and it's now an option on its menu. The girl dinner is basically a personal snack plate comprised of existing ingredients in the fridge and pantry. Now, Popeye's take on it is a variety of side dishes that have to be ordered individually, like, say, mashed potatoes, Cajun fries, and biscuits. Now, the special girl dinner tab is only available on Popeye's websites. I don't know, it also sounds like an anybody dinner, a boy dinner, because I'm going to tell you there are a lot of times when you go to the refrigerator and you have leftovers and you get kind of creative when you don't want to waste the food. So I think that a lot of us are guilty of doing that sometimes, but I'm sure it's always better when someone else cooks it. It tastes better at least. Well, that's going to do it for WGXA News at 5:30. We thank you for being with us. Please join us tonight at 6 on ABC 16. We hope you have a great night and a great weekend. And if you like what you see here, we hope you'll like and subscribe and join us each weekday at 5:30. Good night, everybody.